They uncovered the shocking truth about marriage in God's Word. Few knew what truly happened that night. The moon hung low and full in the inky sky, casting eerie shadows over the ancient hills. It was a night of secrets, a night of whispered prayers. And in the heart of it all stood a woman, trembling, heart racing. Sarah, the matriarch of generations, stood at the brink of an impossible choice. The whispers of the villagers surrounded her, thick with confusion and judgment. "She will be cast out," they murmured. "Is it true? Is she with child? How could she explain the miracle?" The angel of the Lord had come to her, speaking in hushed tones, offering a promise that felt too grand to believe. This child, conceived not by man, would bring Chanhe a hope that twisted her insides with fear and wonder. Back then, in that dusty town of Nazareth, marriage was a binding contract, sacred yet fragile. Families intertwined like the gnarled roots of ancient olive trees, bringing honor and pride. But Sarah felt a dark cloud looming. Her heart thudded in her chest. The laws were harsh, unforgiving. Would Joseph believe her? Would he turn away in shame, betrayal marking the path of their shared dreams? As she paced through the swaying fields of wheat, the golden stalks whispered their secrets, brushing against her skin like fingers. The air crackled with tension, heavy with the weight of her dilemma. The sound of distant laughter reminded her of happier days, days when love was pure, and hopes danced on the horizon. She trembled at the thought of losing it all. A sudden rustle snapped her back to the present. Could it be him? Would Joseph grasp the truth, or would he be blinded by doubt? Her heart pounded wildly. Night creatures sang eerie lullabies, mocking her turmoil. How could she reveal the impossible truth? This child, the miracle destined to change everything, could cost her everything, and just as she steeled herself for confrontation, a voice echoed through the darkness, a voice that sent shivers racing down her spine. "Sarah!" It was Joseph, his figure silhouetted against the dim glow of starlight. The air thickened with despair and hope. Would he see the light? Or would the darkness swallow them both? Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. The night stretched on like a canvas of uncertainty, every star a witness to the turmoil brewing beneath the tranquil face of the heavens. Sarah's breath caught in her throat as the silhouette of Joseph stepped closer, his brow furrowed with confusion and concern. The flickering light of distant flames danced in his eyes, illuminating the depths of his struggle. "Sarah," he called again, his voice low yet charged with urgency. She could sense the whirlwind of thoughts racing through his mind, a tempest brewing just beneath the surface. The weight of unspoken words hovered between them, enveloping them in a fragile cocoon of hope and despair. "Joseph," she finally managed to whisper, her heart aching as she sought for strength in the depths of her soul. How to begin? The truth she carried felt like a fragile promise, and revealing it might shatter the thin veil of their shared love. She took a step toward him, a leap of faith into the unknown. "Are you with child?" he questioned, the pain in his voice cutting through her like a knife. His eyes searched hers, looking for answers she feared to reveal. Sarah nodded slowly, tears brimming at the edges of her vision. The reality settled like dust. This miracle was not just a whisper but a full-throated confession, and it could tear them apart. Do not be afraid, she finally said, summoning every ounce of courage. "The child is of the Holy Spirit. The angel came to me, Joseph, and I swear to you, this is the truth." She half expected him to move away, to dismiss her words as yet another delusion. However, he stayed, rooted in place as if frozen by divine hands. His breath stuttered, and Sarah could nearly see the gears of his mind turning, grappling with the enormity of her claim. But how can this be? This is madness. Joseph's hands clenched into fists, struggling to accept what he was hearing. In that moment, the air thickened with the heavy scent of impending storms, as if heaven itself wavered in its indecision. Sarah reached out, trembling, her fingers brushing against his arm. I know this seems impossible, but I sense a greater plan. I do not understand it, but I feel his presence filled with love and purpose. Joseph's eyes softened, the anguish giving way to something gentler, yet still clouded with bewilderment. What of our plans? He asked, the question a fragile thread hanging in the air. What of our life together? The question gnawed at Sarah, a relentless echo of all she feared losing. Our lives may change, Joseph. But perhaps, we were never meant to forge our path alone. Perhaps this child is a mosaic of both our dreams, a culmination of promises yet unspoken. For a fleeting moment, silence enveloped them, a sacred pause where time felt suspended. It invited a deeper understanding, one that trickled in like dawn light through thick clouds. Do you believe in miracles, Joseph? She asked, her voice barely a whisper. Can you embrace the unknown and trust in what we cannot see? Joseph's gaze turned toward the stars, those distant specks woven into a tapestry of fate. Was it possible that the divine presence they had long worshipped had woven their lives into a story far greater than their own desires? As if in answer, the evening breeze sighed through the wheat fields, carrying with it a sense of destiny, mingled with apprehension. Finally, he looked back at her, the conflict still etched on his features, yet there was something changing, a glimmer of acceptance, of understanding that perhaps the night held more than just shadows. I will need time, he stated, not as rejection but as an invitation for contemplation. Sarah nodded, feeling a mixture of relief and sorrow as he took a step back, allowing space for the truth to settle. The uncertainty lingered like a fog, enveloping them in its grip, yet beneath it lay a flicker of hope, a promise of what could be, what paths would unfold from this divine revelation. Would they stand united against the tides of judgment, or would fear and doubt pull them apart? As the moon painted everything in silvery hues, her heart whispered a question into the silence that would resonate into eternity: could love truly bear the weight of such an unfathomable calling? The dawn broke softly over the horizon, painting the sky in muted pastels as if the world held its breath, suspended in the anticipation of the day to come. Joseph stood at the edge of the field, the golden grains swaying lightly in the morning breeze, a reflection of the uncertainty swirling within him. Each rustling stalk echoed the inner conflict he felt, a reverberation of the night's revelations that had unraveled his understanding of everything he had known. That he recalled Sarah's face, lit with both fear and faith, daring to share a truth that thrust him into a tempest of emotion. As he turned to face her humble dwelling, memories played through his mind, laughter shared, dreams of a future together, and the vows that loomed on their horizon. Now, everything shifted like sand beneath his feet, and he questioned if he was prepared to embark upon this path that had been thrust upon him. Footsteps approached, breaking the silence that enveloped the early morning. It was Malachi, a neighbor and trusted friend, who had always known Joseph's heart. "You look as if you've seen a ghost," Malachi remarked, concern etched in every line of his weathered face. "What burdens your spirit?" Joseph hesitated, the weight of unspoken truth itching at the edges of his resolve. "It is Sarah," he finally admitted, voice thick with emotion. "She is with child." Malachi's brows knitted together. "That is indeed momentous news. A child is a blessing. You should rejoice." There was a tone of caution in his voice, a sense that he grasped the subtleties at play. Joseph swallowed hard, the insecurity of the situation tightening around his heart like a binding rope. "But the child is not mine. According to her, it is of the Holy Spirit." In that moment, the air around them seemed to still, a pregnant pause laced with the gravity of the revelation. Malachi's gaze turned contemplative, a flicker of understanding crossing his features. "You speak of divine conception. In these lands, such claims are," he trailed off, the implication heavy. "They dismiss it as madness," Joseph interrupted, his voice rising with desperate clarity. "She fears for our future, for how people will judge her and me. I do not know if I can bear that weight." Malachi placed a hand on Joseph's shoulder, solid and reassuring. You are caught in the storm of the world's expectations. But are you not also part of the divine plan? Child or no child, your bond with Sarah is sacred. Love transcends our limited understanding, the words hung in the air, swirling between them, lighting the path toward profound realizations. Joseph felt the tension within him shift, a tugging at his sensibilities. Love that withstands the trials, a covenant unbroken, even when faith wavers. What if, in this moment, he were to lean into the mystery of it all? But how can I walk beside her when the world's judgment looms like a dark cloud? Joseph questioned, his voice trembling with vulnerability. Consider this, Malachi replied, his tone careful but insistent. Did not the greatest prophets face scorn? Each was called to a path fraught with uncertainty, yet their stories became legacies. The crucial piece is acceptance of both the joy and the struggle. His words resonated within Joseph, igniting a flicker of hope. Acceptancy, a challenge with profound implications. What if he could embrace the strange new truth with an open heart? He thought of Sarah, standing brave before him, vulnerable yet unwavering, a beacon of light in a world of shadows. Could love guide him through the storms of their entwined fate? Will I be enough? He asked softly, the question spilling from his lips like a reverent prayer. You already are, Malachi reassured him, stepping back as the first rays of sunlight broke through the mist. What you shape together is a testament of faith. It may not always be easy, but if you seek the divine in every moment, you will be fortified in unexpected ways. As Joseph stood in the warming light, a semblance of clarity began to emerge through the clouds of uncertainty. He thought of the life he would share with Sarah, the love that flourished despite doubt. Each heartbeat echoed the realization needed to find a way to honor her truth, to protect her in their shared journey. Can one truly forge a path of divine love through the chaos of the world? Will the strength of his commitment to Sarah be enough to fuel their faith and shelter them from the storms that approach? As he turned back toward her, his resolve felt both fragile and fierce, a tapestry woven with endless possibilities and questions still yearning for answers. What unknown lessons awaited them as they stepped forward hand in hand into their shared destiny? As the sun ascended higher in the sky, Joseph felt the warmth enveloping him like a protective cloak, stirring within him a sense of purpose. He dismounted from his spot at the edge of the field and began to walk toward Sarah's dwelling, each step imbued with more confidence than the last. Yet, as he approached, uncertainty intertwined with the resolve blooming in his heart, creating a complex tapestry of emotion. Inside, the scent of fresh bread mingled with the faint notes of herbs drying in the sun. Sarah was bustling about, her movements graceful despite the burden she carried. When she turned to greet him, Joseph marveled at the light in her eyes, a reflection of faith that pierced through the gathering clouds of doubt. Joseph, she said, her voice sweet yet solemn. You are earlier than I expected. A smile broke through her anxiety, yet Joseph could see the flicker of worry behind it. That I needed to see you, he replied, closing the distance that separated them. Grabbing her hands, he felt an electric connection, one that seemed to echo in the very fabric of their shared existence. I needed to understand our path. Sarah searched his gaze, her eyes deep with unspoken fears and dreams interwoven. What do you mean? The child you carry, he confessed, the words hanging heavy but necessary. I am torn by the world's expectations and my love for you. Malachi spoke of a divine plan. I wonder if our feelings are part of something greater. The room fell silent as the weight of his admission settled between them. A sacred moment suspended in time where faith and uncertainty danced. I have thought of this, she finally said, her voice a soft whisper. This child, he is a gift meant to fulfill a promise, not just ours but for all who seek the light. Joseph felt his heart swell at her words, yet layers of doubt lingered, refusing to fade. But at what cost? He asked. People will challenge our commitment. Will they not cast us aside? Can we weather those judgments? Every great story of faith requires sacrifice, Sarah echoed, her resolve blossoming within her. Consider the tales of our ancestors. Abraham stepped into the unknown, strengthened by the promise of descendants, while Ruth clung to her mother-in-law, forging a path of love in unfamiliar lands. Their faith led them through trials, and they became the foundation of our lineage. I want to be brave like them, Joseph admitted, but I fear the fallout, the harsh glances we may face. Our love may not be enough for the world, yet Sarah stepped closer, planting her hand on his heart, as if trying to draw out his fears and replace them with trust. With every heartbeat, we can choose love over fear. What may seem like disgrace could also become a story of redemption and grace. Her voice softened. The world may not understand, but what matters is the truth we live by together. In that moment, Joseph glimpsed the deeper mystery wrapped in their calling. He thought of the countless stories whispered through the ages, tales of women and men who listened to divine whispers against the roaring storms of public opinion. Each one faced their trials, not in isolation but in the company of sacred bonds that defied human judgment. Do you truly believe we are part of such a narrative? He asked, the wonder creeping into his voice. I do, Sarah affirmed, her eyes sparkling. But it requires faith, not just a resolute heart. Every choice we make contains the potential to shift the hearts of those who witness our journey. Even in our trials, there could lie a faith that transforms. As they stood together in the dawning light, Joseph felt the boundaries of his small world stretching outward into the expanse of spiritual possibility. Each doubt he had harbored was met by an emerging clarity of purpose. They were not just embarking on parenthood but entering into a divinely woven tapestry crafted by hands unseen. Yet as he wrapped Sarah in his arms, a question lingered in the air between them. Amid the beauty of this potential, what painful trials awaited them on this path illuminated by faith? Would they embrace the challenges ahead and transform them into a legacy of love, or would the weight of the world's judgment overshadow the sacredness of their truth? As they held each other tightly, the adventure that awaited them felt simultaneously daunting and exhilarating, steeped in the great mystery of the journey yet to unfold. The morning sun crested over the hills, painting the sky with hues of gold and crimson, as Joseph and Sarah stood united in the threshold of a monumental promise. It was a new day, yet shadows of uncertainty loomed still, whispering the stories of those who had walked the path before them. The air was thick with purpose and unanswered questions. As they prepared to step outside, Joseph felt the weight of the world pressing on him, a world poised to judge, to weigh their worth against unforgiving scales. He turned to Sarah, whose calm was like a balm against his anxiety. What if our faith is tried by those who cannot see our truth? He pondered aloud. The greatest trials often emerge from the depths of misunderstanding, Sarah replied, her voice steady. But through them, our love can provide a testimony that echoes beyond our pain. Just as our forebears endured confusion and chaos, they emerged not only intact but as symbols of unwavering faith. With this resolve, they braved the day, stepping onto the path that wound through their village. Yet as they walked, each familiar face felt unfamiliar, and Joseph's heart fluttered with apprehension. The air buzzed with wafting scents of baked goods and mingled conversations, yet it felt as if an invisible specter loomed over him. As they approached the village square, the chatter began to quiet, and eyes turned towards them, some curious, others judgmental, and a few filled with compassion. It was then that Joseph felt a tugging longing within, an internal conflict bubbling to the surface. Would they ever see us as we are? Not just figures in a story but two souls woven together in divine purpose. But Sarah, sensing the fluctuation of his spirit, took his hand tightly within hers. Do not seek their validation but rather rejoice in the love that binds us. This is our truth, and love unwavering can stand even when met with disdain. As they moved further into the heart of the square, they found a gathering in progress. Old men sat in dignified circles, sharing tales that had been passed down through generations like sacred heirlooms. A sudden hush fell over the gathering at the sight of Joseph and Sarah, and the elders exchanged knowing glances, their expressions etched with the gravitas of history. Joseph, feeling bold, stepped forward. Do you remember the tale of our ancestors? He began, recalling stories he had heard since childhood, stories that trailed like whispers, revealing the strength forged in vulnerability. Of those who faced scorn and doubt yet triumphed in faith, the oldest elder, whose beard seemed to flow like aged wine, nodded gravely. We remember. For in every tale of sorrow found grace, the heart learns to love in the shadow of adversity. With Sarah standing resolutely by his side, Joseph continued, we find ourselves at the threshold of a journey unlike any other. We bring forth a child destined to fulfill a promise, yet we know the burden of the world's gaze can be heavy. In truth, we stand together against the tides of misunderstanding. As he spoke, murmurs rippled through the crowd, a blend of sympathy and curiosity weaving amongst them. Many were silent, reflecting on their own journeys through doubt and judgment, their stories intertwining with the couple's plight. "And what fear binds your hearts, young ones?" one of the elder women dared to inquire, her voice both gentle and probing. Joseph hesitated. Vulnerability was a slippery slope. "Fear of our love being condemned, of our child being seen as a result of scandal rather than a reflection of divine grace." The circle grew quiet, and the elders exchanged glances steeped in wisdom. "This fear is not yours alone," the oldest elder remarked. "Throughout generations, many have faced the turmoil of perception. The struggle has never been in the act of love itself but in navigating the unseen currents that seek to pull it apart." As the exchange continued, Joseph sensed an undercurrent of solidarity in the words. Eyes that had once held judgment now bore witness to a budding understanding, a shared acknowledgement of the struggle inherent in love. Yet, amid this communal pathos, a weighty question formed in Joseph's heart: if love must persist through trials steeped in societal condemnation, what sacred lessons await in their challenge? Would their union be a testament of faith, or would it be a spiral into despair as the world shaped their narrative? The mysteries of fate lingered on the horizon as they stood in the square, buoyed by hope yet shadowed by doubt. The journey lay before them, pregnant with promise and peril, beckoning them to embrace the path of their unfolding story. As Joseph and Sarah stood among the elders, the crowd slowly began to morph from a witness to an active participant in their tale, curiosity igniting old stories within their hearts. The air buzzed with an energy of reckoning, as if the village itself breathed in tandem with the couple's unfolding journey. "Many have come calling upon love," the elder woman continued, her gaze piercing yet gentle. "Haven't you heard the wisdom embedded in our scriptures? Love, true love, is a fire that fosters warmth but can forge agony when misunderstood. It demands courage, even when faced with trial." An elder man, who had been silent until now, raised his voice with a resolve that resonated throughout the square. "Indeed, love was woven into the very fabric of creation, a gift bestowed upon humanity. But with it comes the burden of perception, a weight which oftentimes blinds the beholder. Your child is a promise, yet promises demand faith. Are you willing to nurture that faith even when its light flickers in shadows?" Joseph felt a fire begin to burn in his chest, empowered by their collective resolve. "We wish to nurture it, not only in our hearts but within this community as well. Can we not rise together, shielding our love from the harsh winds of judgment? What must we do to illuminate the truth that lies within?" Sarah squeezed his hand tighter, grounding him amidst the chaos of emotions swirling around them. She turned to the elders with earnest eyes. "What wisdom must we heed to sustain our love amid uncertainty? How do we cultivate a garden where our child can thrive without being choked by the vines of doubt?" The eldest elder regarded them both, the weight of generations reflected in his eyes. To nurture love requires not only commitment but transparency, and oftentimes a willingness to walk paths that are fraught with discomfort. Share your stories, though, why behind your love, and invite those who doubt to journey closer. For every heart that struggles with understanding holds within it the seeds of growth. The crowd shifted, each person reflecting on their own experiences and fears. A young man, marked by uncertainty, spoke up: "But if we share our truth and risk rejection, how do we reconcile our brokenness with the judgment that may come?" With a deep sigh, the elder man replied, "Rejection may sting, yet it can also illuminate the hearts of those willing to listen, providing them with glimpses of grace. When you cast light upon love's mysteries, even the most hardened souls can soften, drawn in by the power of your truth." Amidst these dialogues, an unseen tension simmered beneath the surface. Joseph recalled the stories of his ancestors, who faced trials and tribulations, often steeped in their own journeys. It struck him profoundly that their path had been one of resilience forged through shared experience. Are we not heirs to that same legacy? He wondered aloud. Are we not here to sow seeds of understanding and grace, the very essence our ancestors fought to protect? The elders nodded in agreement, their eyes shimmering with understanding. "Yet, your path is your own," the oldest elder proclaimed. Each generation is called to bring new revelations to light. What will your story reveal about love, acceptance, and divine promise? In that moment, as Joseph's heart swelled with the enormity of the task at hand, he understood that the burden they carried was not theirs alone. But how do we balance our needs against the expectations of our community? He asked, his voice trembling with a mix of vulnerability and strength. The embracing silence spoke volumes, leaving Joseph with a heaviness resting on his conscience. He realized that bearing the torch of love would demand more than mere acceptance from others. It required a reckoning with their own fears, their desires, and the longing for validation. As they stood together, Joseph now saw not only the world around him but also the internal voyage that lay ahead, uncharted and daunting. If love is a call to nurture and protect, then how do we, as individuals, forge a path through the unknown? What sacred guidance awaits us beyond the horizon, while shadows linger, echoing with discontent? This question hung in the air, tethering them to a future teeming with promise yet wrapped in uncertainty, beckoning them to delve deeper into the depths of their existence as they continued penning their story within the fabric of hope. As the energy of the crowd began to settle, a stillness enveloped the square, holding the weight of Joseph and Sarah's intertwined fates. Their hearts laid bare, a ripple of shared vulnerability passed through the assembly, echoing the sacred connection that bound them as one. The eldest elder, observing the shift in the atmosphere, closed her eyes for a moment, as if seeking divine wisdom upon her lips. "Beloved ones," she finally spoke, her voice carrying the outpouring of the ages, "the mystery of love and marriage extends beyond simple union. In the sacred texts, do we not find the stories of those who faced fraught journeys intertwined with a divine purpose?" Joseph, encouraged by her words, leaned forward, his curiosity piqued. "What can we learn from those who walked this road before us? What truths must we uncover to help our union thrive within these walls?" The elder woman opened her eyes, revealing a depth that seemed to transcend time. "Consider the very first marriage, the union of Adam and Eve, a partnership born of companionship and destined for stewardship of the earth. They were not shielded from trials, rather, their story unfolded through the tension between love and longing, obedience and rebellion." Intrigued, Sarah interjected, "So, their love was not devoid of struggle, then? And that means ours shouldn't be, either." "Indeed," the elder replied. "For in every marriage, there is the divine call to confront one another's shadows. Can love not shine the brightest when navigating darkened shores together? To listen, to forgive, and to lovingly guide each other, these are the tenets of a sacred bond." A young woman, emboldened by the truth in the elder's words, raised her voice. "But if our love is tested by doubt and fear, how do we protect our hearts from being broken by those we risk bringing close to us?" The elder male pondered before answering. "In every heart lies the potential for both light and darkness. Each moment of heartache can serve as fertile ground for growth. Trust that the vulnerability of sharing your true selves can yield unexpected transformations. Rejection may cut deep, yet it can also lead to greater understandings of love's persistent nature." Joseph contemplated this, allowing the wisdom to settle within him. "So, love beckons us to embrace the risk, even when uncertainty lingers. We remain faithful to one another through trials, and the community must witness the growth born from this struggle." "Yes," the elders affirmed, their faces illuminated with the depth of this revelation. "Yet, remember, your love is a tapestry woven with forgiveness, resilience, and the willingness to invite others into your journey. Are you prepared to share your story, seeking understanding, even as you remain vulnerable to judgment?" In that profound moment, Sarah grasped Joseph's hand, reflecting on the depth of their shared commitment. "What if we use our difficulties as bridges to connect with others? Is resilience within love contingent upon the understanding of its challenges?" Emboldened by her question, Joseph echoed, "Could the act of embracing our trials together invigorate our journey, enriching the community's understanding? Can we each become vessels of hope, leading others toward healing?" The atmosphere thickened with anticipation as their inquiries lingered. An elderly woman from the crowd found her voice, breaking the contemplative silence. "If you choose this path of transparency, can you do so without fear? Will your willingness to share your story remain unclouded by the desire for approval?" The question echoed in their hearts, stirring a longing for authenticity in their embrace of love. As the sun dipped lower in the sky, casting elongated shadows on the cobblestones, Joseph pondered aloud, how do we reflect the divine mystery of love through the cracks formed by life's challenges, while remaining true to ourselves? What revelations await amidst both the clarity of love and the chaos of misunderstanding? The crowd held their breath, ensnared in the web of uncertainty that loomed before Joseph and Sarah. As dusk settled around them, a new chapter awaited, one that promised the revelation of profound truths about the interplay of love, marriage, and the heart of their beloved community. As the stars began to twinkle against the darkening sky, the air thickened with unspoken possibilities. A stillness remained, as if the community held its breath in anticipation of the wisdom that might unfold. Joseph and Sarah stood at the center of this sacred gathering, their hearts racing with shared inquiry and a deeper longing to understand the mysteries of love's commitment. The eldest elder looked steadily into the eyes of the young couple, her gaze piercing through the veil of uncertainty that shrouded their hearts. Beloved ones, marriage is a holy journey, marked by the sacred vows exchanged, yet deepened by the moments of trial and triumph you shall face. Allow me to share with you a story of old, a tale that speaks to the essence of love's transformative power. With the crowd rapt with attention, the elder continued, in ancient days, there lived a couple, Isaac and Rebekah, whose union was forged from trust in divine providence. Their journey began not just with affection, but with a call to become part of a greater narrative. When faced with the barrenness of heartache, they turned to faith, grasping hope amidst despair. Intrigued, Joseph leaned closer, but how did they navigate their struggles? What wisdom did they gain that we might carry into our own lives? The elder smiled softly, as memories of the past danced behind her eyes. The essence of their bond was a commitment not to forsake one another, even in the seasons of silence and longing. Isaac prayed for his wife, and in her sweetness, Rebekah found strength. They learned that through prayer and vulnerability, their love had the power to weave together the frayed threads of their lives into a beautiful tapestry. Sarah pondered this, her brow furrowing slightly. So, the trials we face can ultimately refine our relationship. Does love not only blossom in the sunshine but requires rain to nourish it? Precisely, the elder replied. And it is through the storms that you will discover who you are to one another. Can you trust in the unseen, as Isaac did? Will your spirits grow ever resilient, as you reflect not just on your own story, but on the shared struggles of your community? A murmur rippled through the gathering, resonating with the hearts of those present. A man from the back spoke up, his voice tinged with earnestness, but what of our fears? We know love is tested, yet we often hide from revealing our truest selves. How do we forge connections when afraid of vulnerability? Ah, my friend, the elder said tenderly, fear often builds walls that conceal the beauty of genuine connection. In your willingness to embrace openness, you may discover that acceptance is born not from perfection but from the shared imperfections of human experience. Each moment of heartache shapes you, but also reveals your capacity for love. Joseph felt invigorated by her words, his heart swelling with the promise of shared understanding. So, through our trials, we are called to cultivate compassion not just for each other, but for all who gather around us. We can offer a reflection of grace to those who witness our journey. Indeed, came the chorus of agreement from the elders. In this sacred journey, your union may inspire others to confront their own challenges. Will your love be a lighthouse for those lost in the tempest of despair? Can you create a community where transparency and growth flourish together? As the stars grew brighter, illuminating the square with their heavenly light, Joseph turned to Sarah, their hands still clasped together. In the depths of our vulnerabilities, shall we find strength in each other? Can embracing our own battles elevate our experiences, enriching the lives of those around us? And just as the last light of day faded, the crowd, once filled with questions, now simmered with a sense of reverent anticipation. The elder, sensing the weight of the moment, leaned in closer, adding softly, in contemplating these truths, dear ones, will you find the courage to bear witness not just to your love but to the love that awaits in the hearts of all? As the story of marriage evolves, what revelations lie just beyond the horizon of your understanding? The murmurs of the crowd quieted as they pondered this poignant inquiry, the pathway to the future now unfolding alongside Joseph and Sarah's journey intertwined with love, struggle, and the promise of collective transformation yet to come. As the moon cast a silver glow upon the gathering, the silence deepened, absorbing the weight of the elders' poignant words. In that moment, Joseph felt the air brim with unspoken potential, creating a sacred space where the heart's secrets could unfurl. It was as if the heavens themselves leaned closer, eager to witness the dawning of revelations yet undiscovered. Breaking the tranquility, Sarah turned her gaze to the elder, her voice infused with newfound conviction. "Elder, you speak of love's trials as a means to cultivate compassion. But in the journey of uncovering our vulnerabilities, what if we stumble? What if we falter?" The elder nodded thoughtfully, her brow creasing as she met Sarah's gaze. "Fear not the faltering, dear Sarah, for every stumble is a lesson wrapped in grace. Just as Isaac prayed fervently for Rebekah, so should you both pray for wisdom, patience, and understanding. Each challenge becomes a stepping stone, guiding your hearts deeper into the essence of love." Joseph's heart resonated with her words, and he felt a fire igniting within. And yet, what if our prayers go unanswered? How do we reconcile with the silence, the waiting? A gentle breeze stirred through the square, carrying the elder's response like whispers from ancient times. "In the silence, listen closely, for it is often there that divine truth reveals itself. The heartache of waiting is but a call to strengthen your faith. Consider the patience of Rebekah as she waited for a promise to be fulfilled. Each moment of uncertainty is an invitation to deepen your trust, not just in one another, but in the divine purpose that binds all of creation." As the crowd absorbed her wisdom, a faint murmur of agreement swelled. The man who had spoken before interjected with a thoughtful pause, "Elder, you speak of the divine, yet how do we perceive these moments of grace amidst our daily struggles? How can we remain vigilant, seeking the sacred in the chaos of life?" The elder, with a serene smile, gestured towards the night sky. "Look upon the stars, shimmering brightly despite the vast darkness. In the chaos of existence, seek holy moments, those fleeting instances when your love radiates like a beacon. Reflect on the small acts of kindness, the tender glances, and the shared laughter. These are divine echoes, guiding you home." Joseph, emboldened by her imagery, asked, "So, in our relationship, we should create space for these moments? Is that not a form of worship in itself?" "Precisely," the elder affirmed. "When you honor one another's hearts, you participate in a sacred dance of creation. Each step you take fosters a spiritual rhythm that can resonate throughout your community and beyond. Will you join hands, not just as partners, but as co-creators of love that transcends your fears and shadows?" The crowd swayed with a shared understanding, their hearts achingly entwined in the hopeful narrative unfolding before them. Then, a quiet voice from the periphery wondered aloud, "Elder, what if the love we strive to embody becomes a source of pain to another? How do we navigate the fine line between personal fulfillment and the well-being of the broader community?" The elder's eyes sparkled with wisdom, her voice imbued with compassion. "Understanding your profound impact on others is both a burden and a sacred responsibility. Love invites us to consider not just our desires, but how our choices ripple through the lives of others. Every action can either lift or wound, so tread carefully and lovingly." Contemplation enveloped the crowd like a warm embrace. Joseph turned to Sarah, his brow furrowed with realization. In our quest for love, might we also be called to listen more, to bridge our hearts with the needs of others? Can love be transformative if we see beyond our own needs? The elder's gaze swept across the congregation, her heart full with the potential she sensed. "Indeed, my beloved ones. Can you ponder in these sacred moments what does true communion look like? As you weave your lives together, how can your union inspire a tapestry of healing, fortifying not just your hearts but the hearts of many?" As the moonlight bathed them in a soft glow, a hush fell among the people, leaving behind a lingering question that lingered in the air, one that beckoned the couples to explore further. What unseen forces might guide them as their journey intertwined with those of others, often hidden yet rooted in love? As the night deepened and the stars continued their silent watch, the square grew still, each heart and voice tethered to the profound inquiry that hung in the air. Joseph and Sarah stood, intertwined not just as individuals but as vessels of something infinitely larger, a call to love that dared to rise above the chaos of judgment and misunderstanding. In that sacred moment, the eldest elder broke the silence again, her voice infused with the weight of generations. Love is a divine gift, dear ones, yet the unveiling of that gift often demands courage. Look now, to the tapestry of human experience woven into the fabric of your lives. Those who have come before you were not exempt from trials, rather, their journeys written in the ink of struggle became powerful narratives echoing through time. Elder, what steps must we take to ensure our love does not falter under the weight of expectation? Joseph asked, his eyes filled with both urgency and curiosity. The elder smiled, her gaze steady yet warm. To honor love is to honor its many faces: patience, humility, service, and above all, faith. Nurture these attributes amidst every storm of doubt. For every moment of struggle can be a catalyst for deeper understanding, binding your hearts not just through joy but through shared growth. Joseph felt a flicker of hope ignite within him, fanning the flames of his resolve. So, in our willingness to embrace our vulnerabilities, we can uplift those around us, creating a ripple effect. In striving to be authentic, we also extend an invitation for others to join in the dance of discovery. Sarah, her heart swelling with conviction, added, what if we actively seek moments to reflect on our journeys? Each instance can guide us closer to understanding ourselves, each other, and the community that surrounds us. Precisely, the elder affirmed, her face glowing with satisfaction. Invitation in love is a divine call. Your willingness to share your truth, to hold each other in the light and darkness, can illuminate pathways for souls yearning for connection. Will you be brave enough to walk this path together? As their resolve solidified, silence enveloped the square, each member present feeling the weight of possibility growing amidst the uncertainty of judgment. The air pulsed with energy, an unspoken promise binding them in hope and prayer. A young woman in the crowd lifted her voice, breaking the silence once more, but love can be so fragile. How do we protect our hearts while opening ourselves to potential pain from others? The elder responded thoughtfully. Fragility does not equate to weakness. Instead, it is an acknowledgement of the beauty of existence, where vulnerability begets intimacy and ultimately strength. Shielding hearts can often build barriers when what is needed is an openness to share the burden of truth. Trust that your love can allow you to be bridges of hope, welcoming others to cross over from fear to understanding. Joseph caught Sarah's gaze, a shared understanding igniting sparks of courage within them both. Then we must embody the very essence of what we wish to see in our community, an unveiling of our hearts not just to each other, but to those whose fears, too, may bind them, he suggested, confidence blooming amidst their collective uncertainty, and through our honesty, we can reflect a light that beckons healing, Sarah added, her voice steady. Will we not cultivate a culture of compassion? One where love binds hearts in genuine connection, allowing us to recognize our shared humanity. As their words took flight, the crowd began to shift, stirred by the blossoming faith evident in Joseph and Sarah's hearts. A palpable energy surged, a sense that perhaps they were witnessing the birth of a profound revelation. As the moon hung high and the stars twinkled above, their truths resonated with ages past, echoing the calls of prophets and lovers, beckoning forth a new dawn. The elder smiled knowingly, sensing the currents of transformation swirling amidst them. Will you then embrace this calling? To step boldly into your truth? Love cannot flourish in isolation, it must weave itself within the larger tapestry of existence. In that weaving, fears can be brushed away, replaced with hope, creating the fertile ground necessary for renewal. With renewed conviction, Joseph and Sarah turned to the crowd, speaking in unison, we choose love. We choose vulnerability. We choose to nurture and uplift one another, even amid confusion and doubt. And as those words filled the square, the energy shifted once more, resonant with an internal promise that echoed, murmurings of yes weaving through the gathering. Old burdens began to lift, and doubts gave way to a growing understanding that relationships, flawed yet profound, are the very basis of love's unfolding mystery. The moon glimmered down, casting a silvery light across the villagers, their hearts were inflamed with newfound purpose. In that luminous twilight, a kinship was born, one that would strive to embrace the complexities of love, marriage, community, and the unbreakable threads that weave them together. As the crowd began to dissolve, an energy of unity hung in the air, hearts knit tighter in the enduring embrace of love. It was a night of revelation, a night where every soul present understood that the path ahead would be interwoven with struggle and grace, but now filled with hope, illuminated by faith, and as they walked homeward, Joseph held Sarah tightly, knowing that whatever storms may come, they would face them together, heart in heart. The sun would rise again, and with it, they would embrace their calling not just as individuals, but as partners woven together in divine purpose, embodying the love that transcends judgment and nurtures growth. The journey was just beginning, and as they stepped into the dawn, they would breathe life into the promise of tomorrow, a tomorrow where every love story becomes a testament of faith, resilience, and unwavering grace, one that echoes through eternity.